All right, all right. What's happening, family? So we are here tonight, and we are going to have Miss Voche on again tonight. So you guys, y'all seem like y'all really enjoyed her presentation last time. So we're going to do it again tonight. So we're going to talk about astrology and what that means in our lives and how it connects. And she will do a couple of readings for people tonight as well. So excited to have that here. So we also have our. I'm also talking to people too on Facebook, so don't usually have Facebook on, but we're going to go ahead and do that today. But we are excited, so I will go ahead and I will bring up Miss Foyche. So come on up. What's
Hello,
happening? What's happening?
hello. Hello,
Good to have.
everyone. Hey,
Good to
Daddy.
have. Huh?
I said, hey there, Daddy.
What's up? What's up, daughter? How are you
Nothing
doing?
much. Wonderful,
Good.
wonderful.
Good to have you. Good to have you as always.
Glad to be
So
here.
So tonight, again, in case any of you are new here, so I am Reginald Martin, aka Ku Akaru, and I help those who are could be converting from Christianity by providing the tools and knowledge to live life boldly, authentically, unapologetically, and on their terms without guilt or shame. And I do this through detailed research and explanation of ancient Kemetic spiritual science, which answers questions about Christianity society has said are off limits, shedding light on the errors of rigid Christian doctrines that have caused people to doubt their own mind and live with self loathing. That should never be. All right. All right, family.
Yes.
And Ms. Forche, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself for the people that might be new here first time.
Of course, my pleasure. Hello, KCL fam. My name is Voche, for those who don't know me, and I am an astrologer, a mystic, an oracle. Simply put, I am very aware of my interdimensionality, and I've made it my life's mission to ground wisdom, knowledge, bring light to the darkness, help people realize themselves, their highest potential, help people get the most out of their life, to live their most fulfilling life on this earth plane. After all, we came here to have fun. Earth is a playground, and it is my passion to help people play, enjoy, and have fun with the knowledge of the tools and gifts that they have here in this earth plane. So that is a brief summary.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we definitely that's one of the things that that I do as well is just let people know that this stuff is supposed to be fun, man. Life is
Mhm.
supposed to enjoy it, and
Yes.
through a lot of times through our Christian training, we are like told that life is a sacrifice, and
Struggle.
you're not supposed to have fun. If you're having too much fun, it might be a sin.
You're doing something wrong.
No, huh?
They tell you you're doing something wrong if you're having too
Yeah,
much.
yeah, I'm like, no, that ain't how it's supposed to be. That's not how these ideas were taught originally. So that's really why I'm so passionate about Kemetic spirituality. There are many roads to to the same path or across the same paths and
Mhm.
destinations. And it's really not a destination; it's really a journey, and it's
Mhm.
ongoing. But I am specifically just passionate about Kemetic spirituality because it does answer the questions about Christianity, you know. And that's one of the things that I try to do in my new book. Is I don't try to do, I do in my new book, and is I answer those questions for you. And I had to put that up here right quick, but that's cracking the Christ code, exposing the ancient Egyptian origins of Jesus. So we are told that Jesus is this one miraculous special being, but family, that's just not the truth. It is not the truth. These ideas are about all of us, and they're about the archetypal journey of the soul. And that's one of the things that I know Voice was wanting to talk about today was just that archetypal journey. So what I do in my book is I break down that journey, and I do that through numerology, and I touch on astrology and symbolic language and all of that. How they tell the same idea all in like three different ways through numerology, astrology, and symbolic language. Okay. So, so Voche, without further ado, we can get rolling with this. So, what direction did you want to go in tonight? I'll let you get going, and then we can just we can flow with this. And then you're going to do some readings later tonight, right?
Right. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
So I see, I
All
was
right.
checking in the comments. I see it's already a couple people in here. We got signed up for a reading. I just want to say hello to Kayla, Dark Goddess, John Fort, a few familiar names. So glad to see you all here. But yeah,
All right.
Daddy.
Yeah, and I told Kinsmer, since he was last time you were here, he was one of the last people that came up. We had to cut him off, so I told him he'd be first tonight.
All right, there we go. It always works out.
It always works out.
Wonderful. Yeah, Daddy. So as you know, we like to flow. So where I wanted to start with the flow was the journey, the human journey, the hero's journey through the zodiac sign. All right. So if anyone has seen a zodiac wheel, all right, it is a circle. And are you looking for an example, Daddy? Are you about to pull up in it? Oh,
bam!
Oh, that's my daddy right there. He already got it. Love it. Okay. I love that. So
hey, gotta be ready.
I appreciate it. So in this circle, all right, is the journey of humanity. All right. So each sign represents a phase or archetype of human existence. Okay. And each of us has a roadmap to our evolution. We go around the circle throughout our lives. Each year, we move to a different slice of the pie. All right. So if you see, it's divided into 12 for each sign. All right. And these divisions are called houses. So that's what we're going to talk about in astrology today, or on the live today, is about the houses and how you can get the most out of your evolutionary journey. All right. And I also wanted to touch on winter. All right. So I know a lot of people have heard of seasonal depression. You know, there's always a time of the year where we feel a little low. Sometimes, you know, when the sun goes down or it's not as up as long, you know, it can really affect our moods. But what I'm here to tell you is that although we have seasons on Earth, spring, summer, winter, fall, and depending on where you are in the hemisphere, will tell you what season you're experiencing and when. We also have seasons in our birth chart. All right. So what winter looks like for you might be different for somebody else. What summer looks like for you might be different for somebody else. Okay. And when we talk about the seasons, we could talk about how those seasons feel. Okay. So summer is bright. It's when you're expressive, you're lively. All right. It's the time to be social. Okay. You're everything that you are is put on a stage, is magnetized. All right. But the sun has to set. So when our sun sets, or when we go into winter, is we can look in our chart, and there's a point in our chart that tells us, all right, I'm about to go through a transformation. All right, this month is going to be a little uncomfortable. And as you gain awareness, you'll start to be able to pinpoint what part of the year feels like summer for you. Like, man, this part of the year I always feel lively. But then during this month, I feel low. I feel like I don't want to be social. I feel stressed. I feel anxious. I feel like there's a lot of psychological stuff going on. And that might be your winter. All right. So when we talk about the evolution of the soul, the journey of the soul, the journey of humanity, all right, your birth chart can tell you what season you're in and how to maximize that season, how to get the most out of that season. There's a time to plant seeds. There's a time to, nurture your harvest. There's a time to reap the benefits of the seeds that you've planted. And as we go around the zodiac every single year, all right, and touch every single month, all right, different parts of our personality, of our life, are activated. Okay. So when we talk about birth, all right, our birth is represented by our rising sign. Our rising sign tells us the exact moment that we incarnated into this earth plane. That represents birth. All right. Birth is spring. All right. In the spring, you think of everything coming alive, flowers budding, things just kind of poking out. All right. And birth is uncomfortable slightly. All right. So when you think about coming out your mother's womb, all right, you're crying. when you're birthed into something new, it's those learning pains of figuring it out, finding your footing. And then when summer comes, you're like, all right, I got this. I feel confident. I'm ready to express. Okay. So if you break down that chart, Daddy, can you pull that chart up again?
Sure.
If you break down that chart, 12 divided by 4, 12 divided by 3 is 4. So each of those quadrants, all right, the first house to the third house to the sixth house, the seventh house to the ninth house, and then the 10th house to the 12th house. All right, these are all quadrants. And so the first quadrant represents the spring of your life. When you are learning about yourself, you're learning about your identity. Wow, I exist. All right. What can I do with this existence? What can I do with this physical potential? All right. First house or spring is the discovery of potential. All right. Summer, okay, which is the quadrants 4 to 6. All right. This represents your self-expression, or summer, when you come alive. All right. When everything that you've learned or all the growth that you've accumulated, you are now expressing. It's the expression of that. All right. And that's the bottom of the horizon. All right. So now when we go to the top, we're now coming into the top of the horizon, which is the 7th house through the 9th house. All right. This represents fall. All right. So this is the descent of the sun. It's actually opposite or invert. And we're going to, Dad, I know you're going to touch on that. The
Voche, I wanted to ask you right quick, because I see like where you're going, like we want to go clockwise with these ideas, where you're talking about, but the way you're looking at it is counterclockwise, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's inverted. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So depending on how you want to look at it, I don't want to convolute it. I don't want it to get to. I'll touch on that later.
Keep it simple.
It goes from this way. So the 7th through the 9th house, that represents fall. So that's the descent. This is when you're going into how you relate to others. Things are being reflected back to you. This is where your awareness comes in, or you learn how to be aware. This is where you start to be the observer. It's not just about you anymore. It's you in relation to the world. All right. So as you're going into the world, you're leaving the womb. You're leaving the security of just you and your own little bubble. And when you go into the world, all right, or fall, this can represent reflection. All right. Going within the self, the observance. And then when you go into winter, all right, winter is fall begins the reflection, but winter catalyzes the transformation. All right. So if you think about fall, the energy from the trees is descending. So it goes from green, which is the heart chakra, the first physical plane chakra. All right. Or the bridge between the physical and the non-physical. The leaves turn green. Well, they're green first, then they go to yellow, then they go to orange, then they go to red. And that's representative of the energy descending back down into the earth and accumulating, all right, in order for it to be rebirthed when spring comes. So that also is a representation of us. When we're going into the winter, the energy is leaving from the outside world and expressing, and we're gradually going back in. All right. And then we're rebirthed, and then the energy goes out, and then it goes back in. So it's a constant cycle of death and rebirth, which is the same thing. The death of one thing is the birth of another. Okay. And Pisces and Aries represent the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. But I was talking to my dad today, and he brought something else to my mind in terms of Libra. All right. If Aries is the first sign and it represents birth, all right, Libra being that half point or opposite Aries, it represents having one foot in the physical, one foot in the non-physical, or one foot in self-expression, one foot in reflecting and adjusting. Okay. So yeah, it is a constant, as we go through this journey of evolution, if you pay attention to your chart, You will know what season you're in, what's being asked of you, what's being required of you. And when you get to winter, you won't freak out because you're expecting it. You know, all right, this is when, those psychological things are going to come up. This is when everything that I need to transmute in order to be reborn is about to come to light. So you can face it with courage, with confidence, and with the understanding of this is the theme. This is what I'm going to be challenged with and presented with. I got this. I can conquer it. Okay. So, Daddy, how does in Kemet, what is the representation, or is there a netter or a concept that represents birth or coming into the physical, the realization that you are physical and has potential?
Yeah, no, that's what we're talking about. That's the foundation of the symbolic language of Christianity. So when we're talking about Heru, and Heru or Horus, and the name that Jesus came from was Yeusa, but it is the light that we are that is descending into the physical. Okay, so that is Libra is that halfway point. So that's the balance. That's the idea of Ma'at, the balance. And even scripturally in the Bible, John says, because John the Baptist was supposed to prepare the way. This actually gets into our physical fetus that actually doesn't have a brain yet, but starts new life. And then around the third month, that's when the fetus starts to develop. Okay, the third month is around December. So this is where actually the light comes into our being, and that's what we call the birth of Jesus. But it is really the birth of the consciousness of a human being. It's the birth of the consciousness of God within us.
And so how does that relate to resurrection or
Okay, I was gonna get to there. So the idea of even the people might not know, but the letter J is actually an embellishment from the letter I. Okay. But why did we even get a letter J? Because the letter J actually is symbolically starts to symbolically represent the return of the soul to the light. So that's where the birth of this consciousness, and this is also at the lowest. The sun is at the lowest point in the winter solstice. The dark night of the soul. All of these things psychologically. Well, on that return, that's where the J for Jesus, which was Yeusa or Yesus, Yeshua, began its return back. And then at Easter, the sun or the light is birthed back into the light of day, or coming back into the soul world. That's where Aries is.
Okay? As well as the spring equinox.
The spring equinox. So the winter equinox is where the sun, represented by Ra, is really the idea of the soul, a metaphor for the soul and the journey of a soul. Okay. So it's that the full journey of the Son of God. But that sun is us. That light is within all of us. It's not about just one special human being.
The light and the darkness. So with the equinox, when one part of the earth is getting more sun, the opposite part of the earth is getting less sun. And then that's also switched on the fall equinox. So it's a representation of how everything has, if it has a front, it has a back. If it has a top, it has a bottom. If it has an inside, it has an outside. As above, so below. So it acknowledges the constant duality of existence. And in the spiritual world, people try to encourage people to maintain a high vibration or only think positive thoughts, or kind of shame you for, I don't know, repeating certain patterns or not feeling your best all the time, when in reality you have to descend the same way you rise. Like there is no rise without the descent. You have to go into that darkness to rediscover light. It's a constant cycle. And instead of being upset in terms of when that descent comes, expect it and go into that descent, into that darkness with courage in order to be rebirthed. Because everything is a cycle. The earth is going through a cycle. Humanity is going through a cycle. You are going through a cycle. Everything is like, if you've seen those Russian dolls, where it's like a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer, everything is layered, and that's what dimensions are. And so it just depends on how many layers you can see, how many connections you can make, how many cycles you can identify. All right. So in your cycle, each year, it tells you exactly where you are, what challenges you're coming across, what you're actualizing, what season you're in. Is it a time to do? Is it a time to be? Is it a time to do by being? Is it a time to be by doing? Like, what is being asked of you? And it can be specified through learning your chart. Dad, I'd like to do an example at this time. Do you think we
do
can
what now? An example of a chart?
No, well, like, yeah, like read somebody.
Okay. All right. Here is the link. So if you are interested in getting a reading, so you can click the link and come up. Kinsmer, if you're in the room, just go ahead and click that link and I'll bring you up and we can get this going. So I just put the link in the chat. So anybody that's interested in getting a reading, then come on up.
Daddy, talk to me more about Ma'at in Libra, because Libra, with it being on, if you look at a circle, if a circle is 360 and divided by 2, it's 180. Libra and Aries are at that 180, which represents duality, balance. Inner Libra is known to be an air sign, but it's for understanding. But it's not just cerebral understanding. Libra also understands the soul. It understands energy and expression as well as thought process. All right. Libra represents understanding your inner world and then projecting it outward and then getting feedback from the outer world and then going back in, readjusting and then projecting again. So Libra is like constantly weighing the scales. How does that relate to Ma'at?
So Ma'at again, it's about the people, talk about the justice, righteousness, and stuff like that. But but the idea of is coming to a point of stabilization. Okay. So if you think about it in the symbolic language, and I go a little bit deeper into this in my book, but in the symbolic language of the Jesus being born in the manger, okay. Where was he housed? He was housed in a stable. Okay. So that is an aspect of Ma'at there. They don't say Ma'at, they just talk about the stabilization. So the stabilization of spirit and flesh is about when spirit and flesh meet, there is a stabilization that forms the human body. Okay, so that's how a human body is formed, is that you get that stabilization. It is the consciousness or the intelligence of the creator that now is housed in physicality. Okay, so there's different points that the stabilization happened. On December 22nd, they talk about the sun, the death of the sun. Okay, where at noontime the sun, all the way until December 22nd at noontime, the sun rises 1 degree lower until it stops on December 22nd, and then it stands still or stabilizes for 3 days. Okay. Then on the 25th, it starts its journey back up. Okay. That's the birth of the sun, the Son of God. Okay. So all of these things are connected, but it's a stabilization at that point where there's a point where the sun stabilizes. Psychologically, we are more in our power when we are psychologically stable. Okay? When we're psychologically, mentally balanced. Okay, we're more in our power. And that's the whole idea of a lot of these ancient teachings were about helping us through the times when we're dealing with our fears, when we're trying to overcome our fears, and recognizing that it is a cycle. It's
Mm.
an energetic cycle that we're dealing with.
That is so powerful. I never associated stability, or I never made the connection between stability and balance. But based on how you just explained it, they are synonymous, which makes a lot of sense, because when you go too far on one side, you have to, in some way, life is going to make you compensate on the other side. Or it's like, if you don't balance yourself, life will find a way to balance you. So the middle
Right.
path represents stability, is what you're saying.
Yes, the middle path, exactly. And that's in Buddhism. I think they call that the middle path.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Hello, Kinsmer. Kimser? How do I pronounce that?
It's Kemzer.
Kimser.
Yeah.
Hello.
I
Good to
forgot
see
to
you.
put the Y in the thing, but yeah, it's Kemzer.
Kimser.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
What is your birthday, the time you were born, and the place you were born?
It is August 1st, 1994. I was born in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, around 6.
It can't be around. It has to be exact.
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Yeah,
Port-au-Prince?
Port-au-Prince,
Port-au-Prince.
Is
Haiti.
it of or? I mean,
It's
O.
AU.
It's
Port-au-Prince.
AU. Yeah.
Okay.
AU.
Thank you. Help me out. There we go. And you said 6 a.m. on the dot, right?
Yes.
Was it 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.?
6 p.m.
PM. Okay, that's crucial. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay.
So yeah, so while you're looking that up, Voche, it's just the whole idea of all of this, again, this knowledge is it's just about our journey and what we're going through. Because like you were saying earlier, when something dies, then there's something reborn. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to think about, even consciously, when we're going through things in our life, there are times when we can have something like just catastrophic happen to us. It doesn't even have to be catastrophic, but psychologically we can have something that ends up teaching us a lesson. That, well, when we get the lesson and then it changes us, the old me or the old you died, and a new you is reborn or resurrected.
Yeah.
So all of these symbols and these ideas can basically they have a multi-dimensional aspect of themselves that they can connect to many different areas of our life, whether it be psychological, whether it be earth science, whether it be medical, physically. They all can connect to all of these ideas, connect to all aspects of us.
Yes. I'm ready.
Okay, go for it. Let's roll.
All right. So, Kinsmer, you are a Capricorn rising. So that means your journey starts. You incarnated with the perspective of a Capricorn. You are learning how to develop Capricornian attributes, and that is what you are here to project into the world. However, you have Neptune and Uranus in your first house, but we're not going to get into the planets today. So, based on your journey, all right, as a Capricorn rising, you have very far vision. You have a desire to make it to the top, or very ambitious. All right. And so your first cycle of development was dedicated to, in a way, being of service, or helping your siblings in some way. You were called to be more responsible than others at a young age, or had to take care of more than just yourself in some way. Does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so with that, the beginning of your journey was, okay, I'm useful. I'm here to serve. Like, I have something to give. your usefulness was in relation to your relationship with others. All right. And as you go through the seasons, all right, you may feel your best around Taurus season, which is no, I'm sorry, not Taurus season, Aquarius and Pisces season. So this is February and March. All right, might be the times that you feel the most lively or most social or feel like interacting with people. Okay, but when it gets to Virgo season or like right after your birthday, you probably feel like, I'm not really feeling social, or I kind of just want to go into my cocoon, because the way that you transform, or your transformational process, your winter, your fall, it looks like analyzing who am I in relation to you. All right. Because you are learning, I don't have to live up to other people's expectations. I don't have to be what you want me to be. I can be who I am. And not fearing criticism or not fearing people's perception. It's like you are great at recognizing other people's talents. You are great at lifting other people up. All right. But when it comes to you and yourself, it's like you're more critical with yourself than you are with other people. All right. So your journey as you go into rebirthing, all right, when it gets to Sagittarius season, this may feel like, how can I put it? Kind of like you're being asked to be still, or like things aren't moving forward. It might feel like a stagnation. All right. But towards the end of Sagittarius season and at the end of when you move through Capricorn and Sagittarius, all right, this is when you'll feel like or remerged or brand new. So pay attention to Capricorn season and feeling brand new, feeling like, all right, I could take on the world. Give yourself grace during Virgo season, all right? Because this is when your most challenging psychological battles are going to come up. And then even coming into Libra season, your beliefs about yourself in relation to others, your relationships, all right? Relationships are huge for you. All right. Give yourself grace during those times. Have a higher state of awareness. Pay attention to the people around you. What reactions are you getting? What is the common pattern in the cycle that you're in? All right. And if you lean into those challenging times, that rebirth, you'll come out bigger, stronger, better, wiser than ever. Okay.
All right.
So
All right.
I gotta keep it short this time. But yeah,
Kinsman, looks like he just dropped off there for a minute.
Wi-Fi. Well, that was perfect timing.
Right? I guess that's the universe saying, okay, that's enough.
Divine.
There you go. There you go.
There he is.
So Kinsman, so does that resonate with you?
Can you hear us?
I don't know if he can hear us.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
I hear you now.
You said you
can hear us now. So we're asking, does that resonate with you? So I can't hear you. Can't hear us. I can hear you talking.
Yeah, you can't hear us.
Oh
okay,
man.
Well, go if you can hear us, Kinsmer, go in the comments and let us know if that resonated with you. We're gonna move on to my girl Kayla. Okay.
All right. Thank you for coming up, man. Appreciate you.
Kayla, what's up, girl?
Hello.
Oh my God.
How are you?
Wonderful. How are you, gorgeous?
Good.
What's up, Kayla?
What's up?
Kayla has had a reading with me. Kayla is a very wise soul. She is muse energy. She is feminine goddess energy. She is a divine light. And it is such a pleasure to even know her. So I am honored to have her on this live today. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
So we're talking about the journey. We're talking about seasons. We're talking about rebirth, transformation. All right. When it's flipped for you, when it's time to go within, when it's time to go without, okay, or come back out. All right. And for you as a Taurus rising, all right, you incarnated into the Taurus stellium. All right. So your first experiences in life deal with value, or when you're being rebirthed, all right, it's all about value, all right? What's important to me? How am I expending my energy? Am I getting a return, all right? Am I making smart investments, all right? So throughout your whole journey, that is the focal point, and your journey through each sign will help you analyze value in each area of life, okay? So when we talk about, the focus is winter, all right, because winter is one of the most challenging, fall and winter are the most challenging times. It's the darkness. It represents the darkness, all right? So the light is easy. It's very easy to navigate the light. You know, when we're in our light, that intuition, that channel is flowing naturally, but that darkness, you know, brings confusion, frustration, you know, feeling lost, like what's going on. All right. The darkness is when we need most clarity. So this is what this reading is emphasizing. All right. So for you, your darkness or your fall, your sun is descending, all right, in Sagittarius and Capricorn season. All right. So, especially even more so for you, because you have your Pluto in Sagittarius. So, not only is Sagittarius the ruler of your 8th house, which is the house of transformation, death, rebirth, all right, you have Pluto here as well, which is responsible for death and rebirth. So, this means Sagittarius season is very trying for you, especially in the area of relationships, especially in the area of beliefs. You know, what do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about the world? And how can you change your perspective based on the experiences that you get? All right. So your experiences during Sagittarius season and Capricorn season are directly related to your belief system, your psychology, and how you are viewing the area of life of relating, intimacy, trust. And when we talk about merging or intimacy or relationships with another, it's our relationship with our significant other, with our parents. It's also our relationship with the universe. So when we deal with trust, all right, themes of trust, all right, if we don't trust ourselves, essentially we're saying we don't trust the universe. We're not necessarily trusting of people or our ability to make good decisions about the people that we're having in our lives. Okay, so that's why Sagittarius is centered around, what do you believe? All right. And then with it being in the 8th house, what is your relationship to your beliefs? Trusting that you can channel the answers that you need. All right. So for you, when fall comes, what's being called of you is to surrender. All right. Whereas your natural inclination might be to try to control more things or have your hand on more things or try to make more things happen. All right. What's actually you, Daddy can relate, is the opposite. Is, you know what? I believe and I trust that I am aligned with what's meant for me. I believe that my higher self has a divine plan. I don't have to know all the answers. I can trust and allow myself to be guided to where I'm meant to be. So in your fall and in your winter, surrender, trust, allow. Okay. And then analyze. So in that discomfort, ask, what am I being called to realize right now? What is being transformed within me? All right. So you, with having this Pluto here, it's more uncomfortable. Your transformations are a little bit more extreme, a little bit more like, you know, a little bit more painful, but your rebirths are that much more powerful. Like your transformations is literally a 180. All right. You may feel like a whole different person, different experience, different perspective. Your perspective on life is going to change. Okay. And then when you're being reborn, so after you have those realizations, until you get back to Taurus, all right, you're being tested on that. You're being asked to apply that, all right, in the darkness, so that when you're reborn into the light, it's then integrated. It's not a question of or a wondering if, it's a knowing. All right.
Yeah.
So that is what you gain in your process of transformation, in everyone's process of transformation. In that process of darkness, you are integrating, you're shedding, you're accumulating energy, so that when you're born, when you're reborn, you can burst out. When you come out your mama coochie, it's not no gentle, you know, soft type of thing. It's very violent. All right. It's all right. But the more energy you store and gather, the bigger your birth is, the brighter your birth is. All right.
Yeah, and that's the thing to understand is like when we're in that dark place, a lot of times that is the womb for our rebirth. You know,
Yes.
so and that's the way the ancients would that is the feminine phase. You know, and even our being as a soul. Being in the physical, this is what they term the feminine phase because our physical life through it that we begin to learn and become more wise on our journey as a soul. So the ancients would say the physical life we can be in the phase of a tomb, where we never wake up, okay, or we can be in the womb where we're being reborn. So it could be either or, just depending on the person.
I like that. That's powerful. The tomb or the womb? What you saying? Something, man. But yeah, that's exactly what Pisces and Aries represent. So once again, I was just talking about how birth is violent. Aries being the first sign, it does represent violent, the leader, coming out strong, and then as we go through the journey back into Pisces, which represents the womb, all that is, all possibilities exist in Pisces. It's the alpha and the omega. So for sure, the beginning and the end, the same thing, same energy. But yeah, Kayla, did that reading resonate with you?
Yes, ma'am, it did. Yes, ma'am, it did.
Yeah. So
anything you want to add? Kayla? I was asking Kayla, was there anything she might want to add or any clarifying question?
No, because it's kind of like a theme, always about surrendering and learning to trust myself. So it is like a confirmation and just a little more encouragement and not being afraid to get that started. Sometimes I'm afraid to be wrong or is this right? And so, but to know that I'm a goddess and I have the capability to create, it's just like trust yourself and lean into that more. So that's what I take away from it.
Yeah, and that's a lot of times that is so hard because I know that's one of my difficulties is that trust, of just the kind of like the trust fall for the universe.
Yes.
Are you going to catch me? And so it's like you got to know when to slow, and you got to know when to go, so you can flow.
Yes.
And not make a mistake, because that's what I'm afraid of, making a mistake. So yeah.
But the thing is how are you defining a mistake? Okay, and this is what I'll say to that. Because no matter what happens, you are going to learn something from it. So when you classify it as a mistake or the ability to make a mistake, then you're saying that, hey, I can be wrong. Okay. That's never the case. You're going to learn something and grow from it, or that's what's going to happen. No matter what the situation is, you're going to end up growing from it. So make your decision, and then you right the ship once you get more information, no matter what that is. So if it's something not to your liking, guess what? You're going to know not to do it that way again. You learn something.
And cultivate the belief that everything is always working in your favor. Every single thing that happens is to your benefit. And if you think like that, you cannot go wrong. There's no such thing as wrong. Everything that happens is right.
Yep. Everything that happens. And that's where you have to trust that the universe is working in your favor. So there's never a time that you're going to do something that you can't recover from. There's never a time that you can do something that you're not learning from it, where you can become better from it. So just no matter what it is, go head on into it. Yeah. Let what happens, and then the lesson that you learn, you're going to become stronger from it.
Yes. And Kayla, just so you know, your self-mastery is inevitable. I've already read your chart. We've had a couple readings, and I'm rooting for you. It's inevitable, darling. Like, you are so powerful. Like, I'm looking forward to you realizing it and knowing, like, we can't really see ourselves, but I can see the effect that you have on people, the way that you touch the world, sis. It's so powerful. I love you. I'm excited for you. And I'm looking forward to keeping in touch as you move along your journey. So love you, girl. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
You betcha. You betcha.
Night.
Thank you for being here. All right. Amazing.
Yeah. So that was the example. And Dad, you remember we were talking on the phone, and I was talking to you about your perfection year, and how each year you move to a different section in your chart that even focuses even more so on the area of life that is highlighted at that time, and it can tell you what you need to do, what you need to be. Okay. And so, just as an example, I just turned 30 in July, and I am in my 7th house perfection year. Okay. So what that means is where my sun has moved in my chart is the 7th house. So I'm focused on relating in the way that Aquarius relates. I also got Saturn there. So in a way, this is the year for me to just be all that I am and be detached from other people's perspectives about it. Sharing knowledge and information from a perspective of just confidence and knowingness. All right. And I'm getting a lot of opportunities to be able to do that. So with me knowing that is the focal point, I'm leaning into all things sharing information, all things owning who I am, all things walking in my power, speaking my truth, living my most authentic life. All right. And in that, I am in alignment. All right. And alignment has this amazing feeling that even when you're in winter, if you're aligned, things feel like it's moving more with least resistance. All right. If you listen to Esther, the path of least resistance is alignment. Okay. So if you want to know how you can get more aligned, if you want to know what phase, what season you're in, what the focus is around your life right now, hit that link. All right. Come visit.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Thank you, Kayla. Man,
thank you, Kayla.
Here.
All right.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
So definitely. So family, y'all can see Voche. She does an excellent job with the readings and stuff. So if that's something that you're interested in, this is like a cheat code for life. You want to know the different energies that you're dealing with, and even if you don't have a birth date, she can still do a reading through numerology. Okay, through your name and stuff like that. So there's 2 paths that you can
if
that
you don't
you
have
can
your birth
help
time,
them through, right?
Yeah.
If they don't have the birth time, then you can still help them with the numerology chart.
Yes. So there are many ways that I can decipher your codes. I've actually gotten to the point I don't need a tarot chart, a birth chart, nothing. But for you to have something tangible, I can read your chart for sure. I also do psychic readings, group readings, mediumship readings, group presentations. Okay, so anything metaphysical that you're interested in, slide into my, not DMs, but you can email me or reach me at my website.
Yeah, there you go. And the website is going across here. So at vovibes.com. So vovibes.com. So if anybody, we got a few minutes left. If anybody had any questions in the chat, we'll be glad to answer questions. So whether that be metaphysics, astrology, Kemeticism, whatever it might be, if you got a burning question, let's answer it. Let's ask it. All right.
Yes, please. Yes,
so
please.
If not, then hey, we can make it, call it a night. You can call it a night. So, but yeah. Let's see. Lovatron says, am I What is that question?
Am I blocked or anything?
Am I blocked? And so give us what do you mean by that, Lovertron? Are you blocked or anything?
Thank you, Dwayne.
All right, Dwayne Howard gave $20. So thank you, Dwayne. Definitely appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, just who knows, like if you have a sense of when your dark period is, or what month do you feel like, man, this month is always hard, or it's always some ish going on around this time. Look at your chart, and I bet that's either your 8th house, 12th house, maybe even your 4th house. But there are definitely pinpoints in our chart that show, okay, this is where it's going to be a little bit more challenging. This is where I'm going to have a little bit more ease and flow, so you don't have to panic when it's challenging, and you can rest assured that, the flow is continuous when you on the up.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And I want to speak too to just, we're coming up to the time of the year where we're getting to, to Thanksgiving and the holidays, of Christmas and all that stuff. And I know a lot of people, when they start to coming into this knowledge, they want to just cut off everything. Okay, I don't believe this anymore, so this ain't true. So, I'm not celebrating this, I'm not celebrating that. Don't go that route, because a lot of times what's important about these days is not the religious connotation or the celebration. It's actually the gathering of family. Okay. So when you are when you're going through these next couple of months, a lot of people will start to get separated from family. They start to get down about the holidays or whatever it might be. Do not get to a point to where you're saying like, I'm gonna stop being around my family because I don't want to celebrate that holiday. Don't celebrate the holiday. Just celebrate your family.
Yeah. Give it your own meaning. Yeah, give it your own meaning.
Doing what now, Voche?
I was saying, give it your own meaning. You can make anything mean what it means to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's really what it is. It's about you making it something for you. And if being around family brings you joy, you definitely want to keep doing that. You that's what this life is about. It's about helping you develop yourself and living through your joy every day. Heaven is not out there or up there. Heaven is within. You create it, through your attitude. And if these holidays have been around your family, helps you to do that, to create that joy, then please, by all means, be with your family on these days. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yes.
Let's see. Lovertron had a question. Says, can you quickly explain my? I don't know what RX is. Jupiter in Gemini. Huh?
Retrograde.
Okay. See, that's astrology stuff. That's y'all going all over my head. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So briefly, when you have Jupiter in the 12th house in the womb, all right, this means that you draw energy, because Jupiter, wherever Jupiter is at, it expands it. It makes it more. Think of Jupiter as the biggest planet in our solar system. So when you have it in the 12th house of the unseen, of the non-physical, of mass consciousness, of emotions, everything, the 12th house just represents the soul. All right. When you have Jupiter here, this means you are not only a rich soul, but you also have ascended masters that are watching over you. And I won't say luck, but you are very subconsciously aligned, meaning that the less you think and the more that you feel, the more serendipitous events that will come to you. The more that you talk to yourself or have inner dialogue, whether that be through writing, journaling, music, using words are the way that you connect with spirit. Words are the way that you expand your soul. Okay. And retrograde simply means that the energy is directed inward, and the things that activate it are subconscious. They're internal. It's not. And so when a planet is direct, that means it's activated by external events. All right. So having it in the 12th house, as well as it being retrograde, this just means that your inner world is where your riches are. And the development of the awareness of your subconscious, anything to do with the subconscious, the spirit, the soul, metaphysics. You might even just be naturally good at things like tarot and divination. All right. Being able to decipher spiritual messages, symbolism, things of that nature. Having Jupiter in the 12th house also means that you're always taken care of. All right. All you have to do is ask or speak into the spirit, speak to spirit and ask for what you want. All right. Ask for clarity, ask for my bills, whatever. All right. You are very lucky and it'll come to you in ways that you'll never expect. All right. Your luck is a mystery. It's like, wow, how did that happen? Okay. Magic is just all around you. And all you have to do is just be. All right. And write. You utilize words and language and you will expand. Your soul will expand. Okay.
All right. Somebody I see, so Patricia Clark says, do you do regression therapy?
No, I do not. But depending on what you need psychologically, am I allowed to say I'm a therapist without having a license?
No.
Okay, well.
Not without getting in trouble.
Right.
So you
pick up what I'm putting down.
You do help coaching. So coaching, that's a different thing. So you can help people through coaching.
Yes, I'm coaching, but with the soul, or we do soul. I don't know how to twist it in a way that is not. I'm not saying I'm a therapist, but
you're a coach.
My readings tend to be very therapeutic in the way that we can get to the bottom of whatever it is you need to work on. I do Reiki healing. I do work with energy. Past lives it's not a service. But I do have experience in that area. So saying that to say I have many tools in my toolbox to be able to help you with whatever. I'm a life professional. We'll just put it like that.
Yeah. No, and that's really a lot of this stuff is because a lot of times what therapy is about is saying, hey, let's go back into your past and let's see why you're jacked up, you know. But the way that coaching is, you don't focus on your past, you focus on your now and how you want to move forward.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the difference between coaching and therapy. So what you're doing with them and what Voche helps you with is to understand what your journey is starting from now, you know, and how you want to take the energy that is within you now, or that's within your cycle. And how can you what can you expect? So she can tell you through astrology how the energy is going to show up later, you know, through numerology, the same thing, and help you through that.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So, and with that, I give you practical tools. So it's one thing to just point it out and say, yeah, this and this happened. This is why you like this. And then you're like, okay, well, what next? We giving you practical tools, things to be aware of, things to practice daily to actualize your highest potential. That is my deepest passion. And so that is always my goal. We looking toward solutions. We looking toward how can we get everything we want out of this life? You know, we're not focused on where you're being. You know, that's nice. We might touch on it a little bit, but only to reference. Do you see this cycle, the pattern? You see where we headed? This is where we going. Okay.
Yeah. Because the paradox of focusing in the past is that when you focused on it, it's not in your past.
Nope.
You know,
right.
The paradox is that it is now.
Everything is now. Yep.
Yeah, everything is now, and it's impacting you vibrationally now. So why focus on something that's going to lower your vibration now? You want to raise that so that you can magnetize and manifest the things that you want in your life. That's the difference, you know. So people that want to stay focused on the past and their pain and their hurt, all they're doing is they're cycling that same pain. They end up magnetizing all the things that can confirm that pain for them, so they stay stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And what people don't realize is that the past, the present, and the future are all right now. So it's very easy for us to dip into the past. We're familiar with that. But what people don't know is that just as easy as we can tap into the past and bring it into our present, we can also tap into the future and bring it into our present. All right. And that's also one of my gifts, is being able to see your potential timeline, see what timeline you're on. You can ask me a question like, where do you see this going? Or what's the possibility of this job doing this, this, and this? And I can tell you the energies on that timeline, what you could possibly run into or expect. All right. Because I understand that the present, just as well as I can tap into your past experience, I can also tap into your future experiences. Everything is now.
Everything. Your point of power. Your point of power is now.
Yes. Precisely.
Always. Always. All right. All right, family. Well, it is about that time. Voche, thank you again for being here. So always enjoying it. I know we're going to have to do this again, do it again soon. So she'll be back. She'll be back and just doing what she does. So thank you again.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Daddy. Always a pleasure. I love you so much. And thank you, KCL fam, for your warm welcome. Always warms my heart. So thanks for having me.
Always, always. All right, family. Well, y'all have an amazing evening, and we will talk at y'all later, okay? All right.
Good night. Bye.